Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to another episode of our subscriber game tournament as we continue with round 1 with match 8 between SamuraiK on the green side versus King of Yen on the red side. And looking at the army compositions, we have SamuraiK with Yuan Shao, Wu Tugu, and Yan Baihu. Quite an odd collection. We have the supreme leader of the north, the proud leader of the Yuan clan of Runan, matching up with a southern barbarian and a southern bandit who doesn't want to pay taxes. No idea how they got together. Then on the right side, we have Wen Chou, Dian Wei, and Yan Baihu. So we have two invisible Yan Baihu in this match. And there are no forest spotting on either team. So it's going to be invisible units running up to invisible units with very similar army compositions on Yan Baihu as well. So let's talk about these units. First, on Yuan Shao, we see 6 units of the Ye Vanguard Spearmen. In our previous match, we saw how capable these units are in terms of countering cavalry and just dishing out damage from afar with their crossbow and dealing a decent amount of damage in combat as well. Then we have Wu Tugu with just 1 unit of the Nanzhong Elephant that can play different musics to boost different stats on units. And then finally, we have our invisible Yan Baihu Bandit Commander with 3 units of Bandit Cavalry and 3 units of Yue Remnant. I think they're called Yue Remnant Infantry. But in essence, his army composition is revolving around the strong anti-cavalry front boosted by an elephant with invisible units that are spread out across the map. I think the infantry is excellent to just hide in plain sight and have enemy unit just run into them. And then the cavalry is obviously going to circle around and look for enemy weaknesses and charge in from, invisibility. Should be very devastating. And Yan Baihu should look for a nice juicy target to lay down his poison volley. Then similarly on King of Yen side, we have pretty much a very similar idea in terms of what Yan Baihu wants to do. Lots of good infantry to spread out to catch enemy units on the march. We have 2 cavalry units to catch weak units out. Unfortunately, on the left side, there's not many weak units, but the idea is there. And we have a decent amount of good spear frontline units on Wen Chou, as well as Wen Chou's roars, which is not going to be very useful unless you can get a unit to start attacking Yuan Shao, because that distant courage will eat up the -30 from the Xiezi roar that Wen Chou can dish out. There's a couple northern cavalry units available for King of Yen. 3 of them. They're not particularly strong, but they're decently cheap, if I remember correctly. They're going to struggle a little bit against the army on the left, but since both sides picked blind, can't really blame them. There's 2 archer militia sitting here, which I don't know why they're recruited. It doesn't really provide any fire arrows either because they're under Dian Wei, nor does Dian Wei have a lot of cunning. So a bit confused about the choice of spending the money on a couple of archer militias. And anytime you recruit militia unit, you have to watch out when their morale decays, causing morale damage to nearby units. So now that we talked about both army compositions, let's hop into game and see how this one plays out. Alrighty, so we're in game, and the first thing we notice from deployment is where is the red army? Where is King of Yen? He's right behind the enemy. He guerrilla deployed his entire army right behind their deployment zone. And to be fair, SamuraiK had the same idea. He deployed one of the bandit raiders behind where they technically would have deployed. He's taking sort of a small gamble in providing a unit that is minimum loss. He's invisible to really just charge in here and do some damage. But unfortunately, it's the same way other side as well, as they guerrilla deployed everything behind them. Now let me just zoom in here and take a look at how the units are actually placed out. So he's doing a fairly standard deployment. Frontline units, 2 archer militias. Still very questionable on them. He placed all his invisible units on the flanks. Okay. Yeah. These are Yanbaihu's retinues. These are invisible. Yanbaihu is also invisible. Interesting. Now, looking at this side, we also have to just zoom in here and take a look, because Bandit Raider here is under Yanbaihu. Invisible. Invisible. The Yue Remnant Warriors, I don't know why they're placed here. They're invisible, certainly, but shouldn't they be better served away from where the rest of your visible army are, so that they can actually use their stock to their advantage? But regardless, it's not going to hurt him that much, because the enemy's right here. It's actually better that they're all close together. Yanbaihu's pretty far away though, and he's not tier 3. He's tier 2. He still has his 2 main abilities. The only ability he lost out on is actually the one that gives him stock and nearby unit stock, which is also on his armor, which is why he doesn't need to be high level to provide the stock. So it's not a huge loss actually, if the whole purpose is to use Poison Volley with him. Interesting choice. Utugu is tier 3. Very strong off-guard ability that has very low cooldown. This is one of the lowest cooldown splash abilities in the game. But aside from that, nothing too crazy. After half health, he becomes a little bit more dangerous. And he has Fury, which gives nearby units extra speed and morale. Already seen Yuan Shao do his thing in previous matches. His most important attribute is Distant Courage, giving nearby units extra morale, a big 50 points of morale, and extra melee charge bonus, as long as he's not in melee himself. Then looking over here, Wen Chou, tier 3. Main attribute is the Xieju Roar, 30 points of morale hit. Unfortunately, with Yuan Shao on the field, that's going to be kind of pointless. There's 4 use on that ability. If they can kill Yuan Shao off, then there is some potential there. Yanbaihu is tier 3. If you just compare here between these stats, we can do the comparison mode here. Actually, can we? Yes, we can. So the green side being SamuraiK's tier 2 Yanbaihu, and the red side is King of Yan's tier 3 Yanbaihu. You can see there's a huge health difference. There's a huge morale difference. Combat stat wise with the different weapon choice is actually close. The dual sword has a much higher base damage, but a slightly lower armor piercing damage, which is surprising. Melee evasion, big difference. Big difference. Health is a big difference. So you can see you're actually losing out a lot of stats. Pretty interesting that the rate of fire on the bow is different and better on the tier 2 Yanbaihu with higher damage. What bow is he using? Same bow, right? That's very interesting how they have different bow stats. Oh, I'm kind of confused why that's the case. It must have something to do with what skills was clicked for which tier of generals, because the skill tree, things like, you know, the increased armor piercing damage on bows, that must be the difference. That must not be selected for rank 3. Very curious, actually. So you with the same bow, you actually end up with more damage because he has the extra 10% armor piercing. There's actually 20% on it. He only has a 10% boost. Yeah, very curious. But it's shocking to see how different the health is, right? 34k versus 53k. Very worth upgrading in my opinion. Now, both army will have one big problem. The way the units are deployed, if Yanbaihu can sneak up and lay a poison volley across this line, that is going to be a massive amount of damage. So let's see who can use their invisible stock component the best, who can lay the best poison volley, how King of Yan might overcome, you know, Yuan Shao's boost of morale, the elephant's boost of morale, because if you play the right song, you can get 15 points morale plus 15% melee evasion. Very useful stats, and also avoid some of these invisible units. So let's get started. Alright, so they're moving their units up. Not the invisible ones, but the visible ones, which is curious actually. Right, the way these units are set up, I thought there'd be a more defensive approach. Okay, Yanbaihu's moving out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, he's just flipping, right? So this unit's becoming this side. He selected everyone, then reset up, and that's why everyone's kind of crisscrossing right now. All these Vanguard deployments, like, you're on the wrong side. Time to come back. Alright. I think people has a bad habit of using tactical withdrawal to gain the 20% speed. That's not how you want to use it. He's discovered. That's way too far. That's not going to hit anyone. And now he's going to get charged. This is when you use tactical withdrawal to pull out from being charged. But he does have invisible cavalry. No, this is the visible one. Okay. He's saving his invisible ones. No, he's not. He's sending his invisible ones too. They spotted Yanbai Hu on this side as well. He wasn't able to shoot. I don't think so. I don't see any damage here. Maybe he got a volley off. No, these 3 units missing are definitely not from Yanbai Hu. The crossbow is going to town. Yanbai Hu is kiting really, really well, actually, because he's forcing them to turn around where the backside's facing them. Smoke screen. Smoke screen. Alright, he's got a clean charge on Yanbai Hu here, actually. But the ammo here is going to shred. So I think King of Yan's actually doing a great job of isolating enemy generals and dealing damage to them. He's picked off this invisible cab on this side. He's picked off the cab on this side, and I think Wutu's was going to be in trouble against 3 of them. So this is not facing the right way, but if they're in turtle, they are in turtle, they won't take any damage. So he's going to neutralize these crossbowmen with turtle formation. And actually, Archer Militia is going to outrange the Ye Vanguard Spearmen because they only have 160. Now, Yanbai Hu is trying to lay down a good poison volley right here. I don't know if he's going to get a chance to because... Well, he might. He might. Maybe 1 volley? 2? 3? He got 3 out of 4. But he's not getting out now. The cavalry is going to be sitting on him, I think. Wutugu survived. They gave up pursuit? What happened here? Yanbai Hu should not be chasing. He should try to volley. They should be chasing. More than enough to kill Wutugu. Yeah, he let his cavalry chase but abandoned the general, which is not strong enough to, because he has help. But they have engaged. Really good kiting by SamuraiK, just pulling the general back so drag the unit in. But you see the commitment here by King of Yan, which is good. These should commit too. I mean, you're in turtle, just go. They're also not doing, they're invisible. They need to just go. You gotta commit into that fight. Alright, I think this side, eventually Wutugu is gonna die. If they just stay here and have it selected. They made it, they made it. Right, because they're invisible for most of them until they get close enough, and now they're just gonna clash in there. They're going for the flank, which is smart. They're going over here probably. Most of these units are damaged, so this is looking good. So unbreakable right now. It doesn't really matter. They need to just, they shouldn't run away. So you can see the selection here. They need to just stay on top of Lugu and kill him first. He's trying to route the units, which is the wrong approach. No one's fighting Yuan Shao. Yuan Shao is boosting everyone's morale. There's no way you route these units. There's no way you route these generals. Alright, he got a good one shot here from Yanbai Hu, and that was it. Someone needs to just touch him. There we go. Someone just touch him. His units are getting routed, but no one's hitting him. Friendly fire. Yeah, someone's gotta touch him. Even the Archer Militia could just target him. Anything. More morale's coming back online. Oh, he's boosting damage actually. No, tag him. You need to tag him, not the elephants. They still didn't manage to kill the generals. I think he decided to use, King of Yan decided to use his generals against units. Which is something you can do after you kill off their generals. Yeah, these two just died for... Basically, it's an unfair morale fight. Someone needs to touch Yuan Shao. Wen Chou's roaring, but if he's here, minus 30 doesn't do anything. Oh, the SamuraiK is actually moving. Oh, I thought he was going to commit him in combat, because that would just ruin your own army setup. Alright, some range block chance, but more importantly, unbreakable for a little bit, just to keep this army in it, this side. It's close. If he can... I think he's hitting... Nope. Is he hitting? He's chasing... He's not chasing the right one. He's chasing Wutugu. Okay, Wutugu finally died. Now if someone could just tag... Okay, perhaps they got it. Alright, there we go. There we go. Oh, he's boosting himself though. Very smart. SamuraiK here. Once this, Distant Courage goes off, he activates his other ability to give them unbreakable for the next 30 seconds. Just to keep up the pressure until he breaks that unit so he can give Distant Courage right back. And you can see the morale just from shaking and faltering back to being ready to fight 100 points. But the generals are just straight up winning. I mean, it is strong, right? But you have one less general essentially. He cannot fight. And because he cannot fight, these other generals, which is only tier 2, is getting picked off. Wutugu was isolated from the beginning. It's just the race. But my question is, even let's say all the red units are routed, who's gonna kill Dianwei, Wen Chou, and Yan Baihu, who still probably has 2 volley left? And plus, the red still has units. Well, these 2 archer militia should have routed a long time ago. But they still have units, and there are still good abilities. And if Dianwei goes below 20, he's still very capable. He's committing. He knows he needs the help. He needs to kill the enemy general. If he doesn't kill the enemy general, he can't win this. Oh, he's not. Ooh, this is a tough call, actually. I don't know. I think Yuan Shao should have just joined the fight. Having the units doesn't give you anything. He's preserving himself. I think the elephant's also playing the wrong song. You really just want cautious cannons. You want the morale and the melee evasion. The extra 15% damage doesn't help you that much. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That glitched. He got it twice. But I don't think it made a big difference though. 1 shot, 2 shot. Because there's a broken animation in between there. So I think he just got maybe 1 extra volley out of that. So now it's just Yuan Shao by himself. That's the problem. He watched all his units eventually actually die. So sure, you're preserving their morale, you're not preserving their health. And this one was actually pretty good. I don't think Yuan Shao is going to overcome these 2 champions. Especially since they're on foot. They have better attack rate, essentially. I think what happens, they were both trying to do Poison Volley. And they both got stuck. Well, he got stuck in his animation, so he's just stuck here now. But he's routing. So as long as he dies, it's over. And he's kind of just stuck next to his horse. Maybe if he moved back, he can move away. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. It's to see if Yuan Shao can bring this back. He needs to kill both of them, which I don't think it's possible. Yamahu made it through. He's just stuck. But he was routed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 3v1. Too much damage. Valiant defeat. Yeah, this was interesting because in the beginning, with Yuan Shao providing so much boost, he was winning the infantry battle just by routing the enemy unit. But once he lost all his generals and the enemy generals joined the fight and started to turn things around, Yuan Shao was really just caught standing. All he had was courage, no real damage. And in the end, we have this result here. Very interesting fight. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let's go to post-battle and check out the actual figures. Right, so looking at the numbers here, you can see the generals did do an outsized amount of damage on both sides, actually. He did use Wutugul. In the beginning, I thought Wutugul was good as dead, but then King of Yan pulled his generals and left 2 cavalry to chase him, and he was able to regroup with his cavalry plus the elephant, and they actually ate up the cavalry pretty quick. And then once realizing that, the generals went back. It was always 3v1. Eventually, Yan Baihu wore him down. And obviously the poison volley on both sides got some decent damage. A little less so on this side, because once you engage your flanks, like the armies collide, there's not good angles anymore. So whatever you shoot, you might do a lot of friendly fire as well. The Archer Militia did better than I thought, to be honest. I thought they were going to be completely useless. They got a little bit of morale damage in there, a little bit of kills, not a lot. Yeah, Vanguard, although great units, they're good against cavalry. Once you do engage them, as you can see, with decent, melee units, you can't beat them. Getting supported with extra 50 points of morale does help. If the elephant was playing the 15% melee evasion, I think they would have done a lot better, actually, and another 15% morale boost. Potentially, these would have been unbreakable. We wouldn't even have these 30 units routing. But stopping the general from using champion abilities to just damage you is going to be difficult, because you can see here, Dian Wei doesn't have any AoE abilities. He has commander abilities, and the difference between that versus someone who does have an AoE ability is massive. Now the roar was completely neutralized, so the morale side of things did not work out as planned when you use wind troll, but the damage side definitely worked out, and carrying premium infantry is a lot better than buying a bunch of militia ones as we've seen in previous matchups. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and big congratulations to King of Yan for pulling that one out, because it didn't look good for him somewhere in the middle there. And thanks to SamuraiK for participating in the tournament, and we'll be moving on to our next match. So until then, bye!